Crews are still cleaning up after a major oil pipeline was struck, spilling oil across a highway in Collin County.
CBC News has uncovered a damning report about a Trans-Canada pipeline explosion that the federal regulator kept buried for years.
Since January of 2012 in North Dakota, there have been 300 oil spills.
ExxonMobil continues cleanup efforts after a ruptured pipeline sprayed thousands of barrels of crude oil across the Central Arkansas subdivision, forcing nearly 24 homes to evacuate.
Keystone Pipeline spills 210,000 gallons of oil.
Do you know how many of those spills and incidents were reported to the public? 0. None of them.
You'd be affecting the drinking water of 5 to 6 million people out of about 9 million in the state of New Jersey.
Pilgrim Pipeline would be 2 proposed oil pipelines that would run from Albany, New York to Linden, New Jersey.
So the Pilgrim Pipeline is a 187-mile dual directional pipeline that will transport hazardous liquids from Albany, New York down to New Jersey. When I say hazardous liquids, it basically means that more than just crude oil can go down.
The proposal is to go underground via pipeline through sensitive environmental areas, including the New Jersey Highlands and a lot of buried aquifers where many towns have their sole source of water.
I was on the Township Committee in 2014 when the Pilgrim Pipeline was brought to our attention as a potential threat to our drinking water. What we found out was that this was a private company that had an idea to make money with this oil pump pipeline by competing against other oil interests, private interests, that were taking oil from Albany on barges down the Hudson River or on oil trains in certain cases. What we realized was that the private interests, the private businesses cared about the money, had no interest in how many people they would be affecting, and were operating in the same way that they might operate in places with vast expanses of land and very few people.
Pipeline spills can be very damaging to the environment. Unlike gas pipeline explosions that actually blow up that you can see, oil pipeline spills can range from very small to very large, but their damage can be catastrophic. If you get 1 gallon of oil into the water, it can contaminate up to 1 million gallons of drinking water.
Promises of Pilgrim that, it could never happen because they have the latest in technology is devoutly to be wished, but technology is great when it works, and it doesn't work all the time. And, you could just take as an example your iPhone. There were some times that I get text messages 4 or 5 hours after the text has been sent. Or I wake up the next morning and find that I have a voicemail from the day before in the morning. The hazard of that is that by the time the oil leak is detected, you will have spilled millions of gallons over our aquifer, which serves over 5 million northern New Jersey residents as their sole source of drinking water. That would have absolute horrible repercussions throughout the region, not only the economy, but property values and the health of people. Imagine a world where you couldn't use the drinking water that you're supposed to use. The spill in Mayflower, Arkansas actually affected what essentially was a suburban community. Suburban communities had black crude oil all of a sudden in their backyards, on their streets. People were living in this black goo that was there. They literally had no viable drinking water for a year. If anybody there was in the process of selling a home, imagine trying to sell it with a puddle of black crude in your front lawn. It really had some major impacts, and that could happen anywhere, regardless of the technology that you employ.
these pipelines leak this hazardous liquid containing all kinds of all kinds of petroleum products, not just oil, crude oil, but the refined products like jet fuel, kerosene, everything flammable and dangerous all the way. And we know, just doing a little research, that oil pipelines leak all the time. 200 to 300 oil pipeline incidents each year in the U.S. So where would that leave 6 million people in New Jersey?